Hey guys, it's Jeff, Scenic Landscaping. Today I thought we would go over and cover armyworms. And I wanted to talk to you about the cycle of what actually consists of an armyworm and how they grow and what they do and how they end up. So today we're going to cover the 4 steps that an armyworm goes through in its lifespan. So guys, let's get into it. All right, it's been about 7 days since we actually had the armyworms last week and we sprayed them. Now, let me show you the video, what it looked like while they were out here. So right here, you're gonna see where they're crawling around in here. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you what an armyworm looks like. Now this grass will green back up, but it's gonna take a little bit, especially with it being so dry, but they can eat a lot and make a mess of a yard quick. This is in about 48 hours. This is Friday evening, and then now it's Sunday, and that's how much they ate. Now I did mow Friday, but that's what they've done since we've been gone. That is pretty quick work for a little bitty worm. All right, right there you can see one that's wiggling, moving around. They've been sprayed about 2 hours, but boy, they made a mess. You know, it's amazing how much they ate over the weekend. It is pretty interesting. So when an armyworm is actually out, they actually eat the top part of the grass. The best product to use for your killing the armyworms is this right here. It is a high yield 38 plus. Definitely just find you a nice generic brand and get them sprayed before they kill that grass. You can see that the grass is basically fixed now. It's, you know, basically greening back up. Everything's good. And we did have a good rain out here, which I did. This is not an irrigated field, so you know, the rain definitely helped. Now it's September and it's starting to cool off, but the grass is still growing pretty good. But this is, you know, it took 2 weeks to kind of green up and get going. So each female moth can lay hundreds of eggs. So the increase of armyworms can really increase pretty rapidly if the conditions are exactly correct. So when a moth lays hundreds of eggs, it's going to be a cotton type substance on the eggs that's going to basically, they're going to be under leaves, under the, you know, shady, concealed spots that'll basically keep them safe. Because it actually takes 2 to 3 days for an egg to hatch. It's that quick. So it's and then you can have an infestation. So the life cycle of all this is pretty quick. So the larva stage is the most destructive part of the armyworm life. That is where you actually see the worms out on and eating the grass and destroying everything. And that typically takes 2 to 3 weeks for that to work all the way through if you don't catch them. So that's the life cycle of the armyworm itself, and the actual larvae stage is the worm. Okay, now after 2 to 3 weeks of the armyworm in its worm form, it goes into the pupal stage. Now it goes back into the soil and it works its way in. It's not eating, it's dormant, laying in the soil. Now during the pupal stage, the worms are actually non-active and they move back into the soil and they're there for about 14 days underground mold. Now the adult stage is actually when they turn into a moth, and the moth actually lives for another 1 to 2 weeks. So it's a pretty quick cycle all the way through, you know, so you're really looking at about a month to 6 weeks is about how long the entire cycle. So that's the reason you can have several crops of armyworms during the summers, because it can lay, if in a good year, in a really good year, that you can have a bunch of different cycles just because they can rotate and just kind of keep cycling on through. It's kind of like the chicken or the egg, which way you want to look, which came first. It's very similar. Tell you what guys, I hope this helps. I just wanted to throw this out here. I thought this time of year is one of those, and I just happened to catch these, and I thought, guys, this might be a good video. So if you have any questions or thoughts, I'd love to hear from you. Well, guys, I appreciate it. I'll see y'all next week.